Hello everyone. Just getting my computer situated on the side here. I hope the lighting's okay. Oops. Let's move over a bit. That's a bit better, I think. Alrighty. Just getting my stuff situated. I hope everybody's having a good day. I know I am. I can't believe it's already December the 1st today. That's crazy. We are almost done 2021. I don't even know where it went. Okay. Just getting a couple of things. Hi. Thanks for joining. Hi, Star. All right, for those of you hopping in, we've kind of started creating this set over the past couple weeks. Hi, Micah. We did do a wood grain effect, and I did do a whitewashed wood grain effect live, but I went home and I played around and I did it with like traditional brown colors. So I did that, of course, using all Ugly Duckling products. I do have a tutorial up for that on YouTube if you guys want to see. It's the same technique as the whitewashed wood, just using different browns. Hi, Rossi. Hi, Cydia. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Tanya. Thanks, you guys, for hopping on. This is great. Hi, Lindsay. Oh, Lindsay, hey. Okay, so we are going to take the buffalo plaid nail that we did a couple weeks ago, and we are going to add some very simple holly to this. There's not a lot of detail in the leaves. Admittedly, holly is hard for me to draw and sculpt, but we're going to wing it anyways. Is it too dark for you guys? I can't tell on my computer if it's too dark. If it's too dark, let me know and I'll try and add another light here. So very simple. We're just going to take some of our 3D gel. Our 3D gel comes in white, and we are going to mix our own green shade. And then for the berries, we're going to use our Ugly Duckling Clear as Mud crystals in cyan. This beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous Christmas red, and they're so sparkly. Oh, good. I'm glad the lighting's good. Awesome. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some snowy sugar details to the holly leaves. And before all that, actually, I got ahead of myself. We're just going to do some very, very simple greenery in the background just to fill in this one corner of the nail. I have my other buffalo plaid that we did, and we are going to do it opposite. So we're going to do it on the right side, starting kind of up in this top right corner, coming down a little bit, and then over to the side also. Hi, Cheryl from Costa Rica. Wow. Saludos. I hope I said that okay. Okay, so products we're going to use today are our Ugly Duckling 3D gel. It comes in white, as I mentioned. Then I've got some of our art gel on my palette here. So I've got our black, our green, and our white. And we're going to use these to not only color our 3D gel, but we're going to use this to create some green shades for our greenery that we're doing behind the holly. So let's go ahead and start mixing our 3D gel first. So I think you guys, for those that are regulars here, have mentioned to me, or have heard me mention, I should say, about mixing our 3D gel with colors. You can absolutely do that, but you need to make sure that you don't add too much because it can throw off the consistency and the texture of the 3D gel and make it a little bit trickier to work with. So when you're dyeing or coloring, I should say, the 3D gel, because it is a white base, keep that in mind. You'll want to use darker colors, and that way it won't make it as pastel, if that makes sense. If you use a lighter green and mix it in with white, it's going to make it even lighter. So I'm going to take some of my green here, not too much, and just mix in little by little. So basically you're going to kind of knead it in like you do with dough. Pick it up, fold it over, just work that gel, that color gel or art gel. You can use color gel also, or gel polish, to color your 3D gel. And we're just going to pick that up and fold it over. Pick it up, fold it over, and just really work that product in there. And I can tell as I'm working with this, my ratio is still good. It's not too sticky. It is becoming a bit softer, which is normal because we are manipulating the product and we are adding another gel into there. So it is going to soften it up a little bit. Our 3D gel in the jar is a little bit more stiff, but that works out because then you're able to work other colors in there and soften it up a little bit and create your own shades. So this green is a little bit too light for my liking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very small amount of black and mix it in with the green. Now, with darker colors, especially with black, black is so pigmented that just add a little at a time because it can very easily overtake a design or a shade that you're mixing. It's better to add little by little than add too much and have to try and fix it. So this is just going to make that green a little bit darker. And really fold that in, pardon me, and work that in there. Oh, I have a frog in my throat today. Excuse me. Okay, almost there, you guys. It's almost got like a Play-Doh consistency. If you notice that your 3D gel has become a little bit too sticky, and if you let it sit and it starts to get really, really shiny, that's an indication that you may have mixed too much of another gel in there. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So what you can do at that point is you can add a little bit of clear acrylic powder, which I may do today just to show you. Mine's a little tiny sticky, but not too much. Oh no, Sandra, you're out of power? Oh, I hope it comes on soon. I love these lives. That pine berry nail was so easy to do. Oh, I'm so glad, Taylor. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you found it easy. Okay, so using the scoop end of my duck paddle and some clear acrylic, I'm just taking a very small amount because, again, we don't want to throw off that product ratio. If you add too much clear acrylic powder, it can actually make the 3D gel brittle. So we want to avoid that, of course. It's a bit of a mixing game here. If you add too much, then it'll make it crumbly, and when your clients wear it, if they give it a knock or something like that, chances are it will break. So just adding a tiny, tiny bit, like you do with flour when you're kneading dough, you add a little bit of flour just to make it so it doesn't stick. Same kind of thing here. Alrighty, we've got our 3D gel mix, we're ready to go. So now also, I've got a little bit of alcohol standing by in a little container that I'm going to use with my 3D brush, just so I can keep it from sticking. I'm not using it like a monomer, I'm using it just simply to keep the brush from sticking to the product. So I've got my little 3D brush here. Let's move our palette over to the side. Before I do my holly leaves, let's go ahead and do some greenery in the background. So I've actually already sealed this nail previously with matte, but you could do this over, of course, the inhibition layer of your gel polish, and then you could reseal it and then do your other stuff on top. But we've already got it sealed, so let's just work with that. I'm going to take my striper brush, and we are going to mix some custom green shades for our greenery in the background. So I kind of want like a darker tone, a medium tone, and a lighter tone. So let's take some of our green because that'll be our main color. Let's take a little bit of black. Let's mix that in there. Get a really, really deep green. Okay, just gonna wipe the excess off my brush. Let's take some more green. We'll make kind of a mid-tone, so I'll grab a little bit of white. Let's see how mid-tone this is. I may have grabbed, oh no, we're doing pretty good. So we've got a medium tone green there. And then for our lighter green, I'll take less green, maybe a little more. Less green and more white. Does anyone else's palette looks nice and messy when they're working? We're true artists, eh? It's a creative chaos. You have to watch on your phone. Aw. Sandra, I hope you're staying warm. Okay. So we've got our deep green, our mid-tone green, and our lighter green. So let's go ahead and start with, I'm going to start with the lighter green just so you guys can see. We can kind of work our way up. Honestly, there's no rhyme or reason for this or the way I'm doing it color-wise. Personally, I just want this to be as simple as possible. So we are just going to start by painting. I'm going to start with the light first, and then we're going to layer the other colors on top, and that will give us effect of like different pine needles and that sort of thing. So I'm loading up my striper brush, and I'm wanting my holly to kind of stay around in this area, but I'm going to start up higher anyways because I want the greenery to look like it's coming out from behind the holly. So let's just start around this area. I'm going to put my brush down and just flick it downwards. And really not having tons on my brush, but I'm just flicking lines down. And I'm not worried if they're breaking. I'm not worried if some are a little bit longer. As I'm flicking down, I'm kind of almost doing it on a curve. Load up my brush a little bit more just to get more product on there. A little sparse in here, so we'll just add a little bit more. But remember, we're going to be adding 3 more colors too. So if there's some sparse areas, that's a-okay. Literally, guys, I'm just flicking my brush on there. It doesn't look like much, but once everything comes together, and I'm going to forewarn you now, I was laughing at myself last night when I was doing my holly because it actually kind of looked like leaf lettuce. Which, whatever, it's fine. As soon as you put the berries on, people know what it is. They know it's holly. Hopefully. Okay, so now we're going to, I would flip my client at this point so their hands are the other way, and I would come from the center again, pull outward, just flick to create those pine needles. Again, no super special technique. Just using mostly the tip of my brush and kind of using whatever brush is on, or sorry, whatever product is on the brush or the nail. And that kind of helps create those scratchy pine needles. Okay, we've got that there. Next, let's see, on this one, we did a little bit in the back too. So let's fill it up back there so it looks nice and full. And we may do another, let's do another small one coming out here. Worst comes to worst, if it's covered, not a big deal. At least we'll have it peeking through a little bit. Really just flicking that brush on there. Creating those wispy pine needles. Loading up my brush a little bit more. Using the very tip. Little wispy branches. So for those of you that do Christmas shopping, are you ready? I know it's December 1st, but there are some people in my family that start their Christmas shopping, I swear, in like January. I, unfortunately, am not as well prepared, but that's okay. We've still got some time. All I can say is thank goodness for online shopping. Okay, just filling in this space back here. You can see I'm really just using the tip of the brush. If I was working on a client, obviously I would be mindful of their skin here. So I may, because there's so little on the brush, I may just flick the opposite way. That way I'm not risking running in and getting product on their skin. We always want to avoid that, you guys. Okay. All right, so I think I'm going to keep working on this a little bit wet. The beauty of the art gel is that it is thicker. So as I'm working, it's not really self-leveling or running away. We're still maintaining those really wispy lines. And I want to add a little bit of the mid-tone green in here while it's still wet. Those colors can kind of meld together a little bit. So I'm picking up some of my mid-tone green on my striper brush. Amazon is the best, honestly. I don't know how I ever lived without Amazon Prime. Okay, so we are not going to go over exactly where we went with the first color because we do want some variation. So I may go down a little bit down the center and then put it in random spots. It may be concentrated more in one area, there may be less in another. But by layering the colors, we're going to add more dimension and more interest to our simple little pine needles. One thing I always say to people is nail art doesn't have to be really complicated. You can create beautiful designs simply, and it's just by doing simple little strokes like this. And about the placement, nail art can be really intimidating to some people who don't necessarily do it, but I hope that seeing it broken down into different steps is helpful. Okay, so let's come over here. We're gonna do our little flick, 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 flick. Okay. Really, honestly, haphazardly just putting this color on. I'm still, of course, kind of maintaining the same shape. I don't want it to be like blown out everywhere. I want to follow what I've done first, but I'm not tracing over every little needle that we've done. Okay, almost there with this part, you guys. I am going to cure this, and then we're going to go back and add some of that darker green. Just because I don't want the colors to mix too much, we still do want some variation between them. Maybe a little thicker in areas. All right, so we've got the first couple layers of our pine needles here. Let's pop that in the lamp. We're gonna do a cure on that guy. Whoops. Let's take a peek in the comments here. Hey, Sandy. Nail art is your favorite part of doing nails. Honestly, Michelle, I love nail art too. I've always loved art. I've always been into art, especially in high school and stuff. Although I didn't like doing homework, so I loved doing the assignments in class, but doing my sketchbook at home, I was horrible. I would bring my sketchbook home and it would be due on Monday. I'd be sitting in my room on Sunday night sketching all these random things to try and get my assignments done. Oh boy. Oh well. Okay. So we've got our first two colors. Let's hop in with our darker shade here. Our darkest one we mixed our green art gel with some of our black art gel. Just loading a bit on my brush. Now remember, when working with darker colors, what do I always say? They can quickly overtake the whole design just because they're so pigmented. So, little goes a long way. Maybe a little more. It didn't show up very well. Just random spots with this one. I'm not going to go as crazy as I did with the first colors. And I do have a little bit more on the very tip of my brush. I always tell you guys when you're using your striper to really evenly kind of distribute the product, but for this one, it's okay if there's a little bead because we're going to use that to our advantage. That's going to help make the pine needle a little bit thicker at the top, and then as we flick our brush outward, it'll thin it out. Pick up a little more. Flick. And really, this is just background work, but we still want it to have a little bit of detail. Nothing too crazy, but just adding these three colors gives it more dimension, more interest, and doesn't look like we've just thrown a bunch of random lines in the background. It looks purposeful, like it's meant to be there. We doing okay so far? I hope you guys are having a good day. All right. Pull that down. This one was missing kind of the end of the branch there, so I've just pulled that dark shade down a bit more. Am I zoomed in too much? If it's blurry, you guys just let me know. Okay. Whoop, we almost forgot our little one up here. There we go. Alrighty. All right. So let's pop that in the lamp dark here. Aw, thanks, Tanya. Like I said, I just like to keep things simple. Simple, simple, simple. Okay, let me just put the cap back on my striper brush for now because we're going to put this away. Next, we're going to grab, we're going to have our 3D gel ready. Just hopping on, did I miss a wood grain design? P.S. Aw, thanks. I'm always worried my voice. Somebody told me when I was younger that I have a squeaky voice. So ever since then, I've been very aware of my voice. So thank you. That's very nice to know. Oh, my stepmom's here. Hi, friends. The wood grain, Elena, I actually did last week, I think. I did a whitewash wood grain, which is a mouthful to say. But I've also done a video on YouTube with Ugly Duckling products, of course. It's the same technique as the whitewash wood grain from last week. I just did it with some darker brown colors to give a more traditional wood grain. So same techniques, just different colors. All right, we've got our pine done in the background. Let's grab some of our 3D gel. So I'm grabbing my duck paddle. Zoom out a little bit. We've got our pre-mixed 3D gel. Whoops, a little fuzz from my sweater. Let's get that off there. Okay, so I've got some alcohol, like I said, off to the side just to essentially keep my brush and my gloves from sticking. So I always wear gloves whenever I'm working. So I'm going to dip a little bit of, or put a little bit of alcohol on my glove just so I can freely roll this bead of 3D gel without it sticking to my gloves. Next, we're gonna just pop it on the nail. No problem, Elena. Okay, then I've got my 3D brush and I've just literally popped it in a little bit of alcohol and I'm rolling out the excess onto a paper towel just to keep my brush a little bit moist to keep it from sticking to the 3D gel. Next, for those of you who never have done maybe 3D, to create a simple leaf shape, I'm going to use the side of my brush. So I'm not going to use it flat like this. I'm going to use it on the side, so the skinny part. And I'm just going to press in so it flattens it a bit into a circle. And then I'm going to angle my brush up. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm going to put most of the pressure on the point of my brush and push down. And that's going to start moving that product outward. So we don't want it to come off the side of the nail. So I'm going to move that over a little bit. Scooch it over. And I'm just going to keep using the side of my brush there to kind of elongate and pull it into a point. The beautiful thing about working with 3D gel, you guys, and this is coming from an acrylic tech. I primarily am an acrylic technician. But working with 3D gel to do 3D art like this is so nice because you have so much time to work with it. It doesn't set or cure until you put it in a lamp. So if you're newer to doing 3D, I suggest trying it out with some 3D gel first because then you'll be able to kind of get a feel and how to work your brush and how to hold your brush. And if you don't like it, you can just wipe it right off or scrape it right off and start again. Okay, so we've got a rough leaf shape here. Now, don't laugh at me because this may look like a piece of leaf lettuce. But what we're going to do is holly kind of is like almost pleated. So I've hit it with snow. It comes to a point at the very tip. And then let me just grab one of my brushes here. So here. So it's shaped like this at the very tip. Okay, and then it's like pleated or kind of wavy on the sides. And then comes to another point. And depending on the length, oh my goodness, depending on the length of the leaf, will be dependent on how many little pleats there are there. Then there's always usually a little vein down the middle. And then little, this does not look like, you get what I'm trying to do. You guys are like, oh man, what am I watching? Okay, let's go back to our nail here. So I'm just lightly moistening my brush again. I'm going to press out in this section here and this section here. So we're kind of creating the pleats. It's not focusing. Let me zoom out a little bit. Come on. It's having a hard time focusing. There we go. Okay, I think I got it. So I'm pushing out and I'm again putting pressure down on the tip of my brush and pushing that pressure to the back. So essentially, this is my nail, putting the tip down and I'm pushing pressure. So by the back of the brush here, this part here pushes down against the product. That's pushing it up and outwards. So that's kind of help create some dimension. Do you see that there? That's because we put pressure down here and it's pushed the pressure up on either side of where we've put the brush down. Does that make sense? I hope so. Hi, Natasha. Okay, I'm gonna push down here. And then we are going to come back in here and we're gonna emphasize these little pleats. Okay. And here, we're going to create, honestly, don't worry about this part too much, you guys, because there's going to be berries here. So don't worry about the inner part of the leaf. Okay, I'm going to press down again. We're going to push in here. I told you it kind of looks like leaf lettuce. It's very soft holly, okay? It's holly-esque. But like I said, once we add the berries, people will know what it is. Is there anything that is tricky for you guys, like to paint or to sculpt? Holly has always been so tricky for me for some reason, but I wanted to show you how I do mine and just show you that when you put leaves and like other greenery beside something, it kind of just almost comes together. Okay, so now I'm going to take, I'm going to take my spatula end of my duck paddle, and I'm actually going to just, I have a little container here of clear acrylic. I'm just going to dip it in the clear acrylic, just like you do when you're working with dough, so it doesn't stick. And I'm going to come in and we're going to create the center vein. So I'm just pressing into that product. Okay, and then we're going to go boop, and create a vein where each leaf pleats. Pop that in there. Okay, so we're looking leaf-esque. We're getting there. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to do the other side. Let me just grab some more of my 3D gel. Okay, and try and grab roughly the same size amount of product. If it's a little bit more, a little bit less, that's okay. It's deceiving. You think that this is like not enough product, but it actually may be a little bit too much. So just learning your bead sizes is something in its own, but it comes with practice. So again, I've got a little bit of alcohol on my gloves. I'm just going to roll that off of my spatula and roll it in between my fingers here just to get a rough bead. I'm going to place it close to my other leaf, and I'm going to flip my client's hand at this point because it's easier for me to work like this. Don't be afraid when you're working on clients to move them around. You need to be comfortable and you need to be able to do your job comfortably and well. So don't be afraid to move them around. Same thing. We're starting at the anchor point of the point of our brush there. I'm putting that down. That's where the pressure is going to be applied, and we're pushing backwards to help spread that bead out. Okay, I'm going to drag it to a point. Drag it to a point. You guys could also use our silicone tools for this also. Those work great. When you're working with them, you may have to dip them in a little bit of alcohol also just to keep them from sticking. But they are a great alternative to a 3D brush if you don't have one. They're an awesome tool. They're great for cleaning up too if you get a little too close while you're doing your gel polish or anything like that. Okay, so push in here, create that pleat. Pulling it to a point. Pointing out those leaves a little bit at those pleats. If I was working on this client, it'd be a little tricky around here, so I'd flip them back because I want to make sure, of course, that we're not touching their skin. We want to avoid contact with the skin. Flip back here. Okay. Push in that pleat. We're going to point this leaf up a little bit. Same with this one. Right here, we need to bring that in. Oh my goodness. Okay. We're looking holly-esque. We're looking festive at least. Once we add those red rhinestones on there, nothing else matters anyways. All right, so let's take our duck paddle. I'm just wiping off the excess 3D gel because I don't want it to stick. Dipping it in a little bit of clear acrylic. We're going to come in, we're going to create that center vein. Then the veins in our little leaf folds or pleats. Here as well. Okay, so we've got some holly-ish leaves happening here. Let's pop that in a lamp. We're going to go ahead and cure that just to hold it in place. Next thing, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our crystals. So I've got my Ugly Duckling Clears Mud crystals in Siam. Now this is a larger nail and these are larger leaves, so I've done them with SS8 crystals. But you'll see on this set, which I've shown you guys before, because this is the set we did with the whitewashed wood. Let me just get it ready here. We've done them smaller too, so we've got a larger version and a smaller version. For this one I used the SS5, I believe, or SS3. So they're tiny, tiny, tiny little leaves, a little bit different. So the larger the leaves and the larger the holly in general, the larger the berries you want to do. So do a larger size crystal. Okay, we're going to do a final cure on that in the end. So let's just go ahead now. I'm going to break out my Shtick-It and my blinger. And let me just dump some of these beautiful crystals out. These are so pretty. I can't wait to wear. I only ever wear red at Christmas, and I think I have to wear it a little bit more often. It's such a beautiful shade. Okay, let me move these aside. I've got our 3 little berries here. Typically holly usually comes with 3 berries. That's how I always see it in the stores and stuff, so that's what we're gonna do. I've got my Shtick-It. I just need my blinger tool. Just one second, I gotta grab it out of my little case here. Slot 1. Okay, I think I got it. No? Sorry guys, just one second. Alrighty, got it. Okay, so I'm gonna grab some of my Shtick-It, and I'm gonna grab enough to make sure that we can really anchor these crystals on there. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put it right in the middle. Okay, we're gonna pick up one of our crystals, pop that there. Now, if some of the Shtick-It pops up, that's okay because we're going to cover it with sugared snow, but I'm going to take a peek once these are on there to make sure that nothing is too crazy. Okay, so we've got our berries in place. Let me just put my detailer brush down, or sorry, my blinger down, and I've got actually my 3D brush, and I'm going to come in and just wipe up any excess shtick-it that may be seeping out a little bit too much. These ones are kind of overlapping a little bit. I like that, and I'm going to leave it because we're going to secure it even more with our sugaring. There's going to be more gel and then acrylic on top. So these aren't going to go anywhere. So let's go ahead, let's pop that in here just to anchor those in place. Okay. Oh, thanks, Charlene. I'm glad you like it. Whoops. Okay. Wrong lid here. Where are we? There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and we are going to grab our white art gel and we are going to add some white art gel in the areas that we want some snow. So I'm just taking my striper brush and looking at the ones I've done, I put quite a lot of snow on these berries and just a little bit on these ones. So let's go ahead, let's just add a little. A little goes a long way, I think. We still want to see those beautiful crystals. So I'm going to get a little bit of art gel on my brush here. Just using the tip, lightly coming through here. Just thinking of where snow would naturally fall. So as the snow's falling, it would fall on the top of the berries. And just kind of lightly trickle down. Same with up here, maybe a little bit up here. Nothing too crazy. All right. Then the leaves, it would hit the high parts. So I'm not going to do all of them. It would kind of sit a little bit here. Maybe a little bit here on the higher part. Just adding these details just makes it a little bit more wintry. Let's go ahead and add a little bit here. Where this top of the leaf is sitting. And then let's do, if the snow is falling from above, it would kind of sit in this little crevice. So we'll put a little bit in here. A little bit here. And where else? Maybe just a tiny bit there. Just a little bit. Now, we can't forget our little branches. So on our branches, on this one, I just did little tiny spots randomly. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's do a little bit here. And as I'm doing that, I'm just kind of dotting it on and patting it on. Not really making any definitive straight lines or anything. Just think of what you see out in the forest when it snows, how there's clumps of snow on little branches. You can add a little bit on the very end. I feel like I need to whisper when I'm doing this. Little snow here, little snow there. Pull it down a little bit. We don't want to cover it completely because we still want to see that beautiful work we did with our pine needles. Okay, I think we're feeling pretty good about that. Maybe a little bit here. Just a little bit, make it look like the snow piled up a bit. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to sugar this. So if you have, oh, oh, what color is it? I think it's number 35 colored acrylic from Ugly Duckling. It's this beautiful kind of pearly, shimmery, translucent colored acrylic. It's beautiful. That would look great with this. I just have my clear today, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna sprinkle that on. And we are going to keep adding it until we do not see any wet gel seeping through. So any areas that you applied it a little bit thicker, which for me would be on those berries, I'm going to have to add a little bit more of my clear acrylic. For those of you who have never sugared before, rule of thumb, and I know you girls that have hung out with me before here have heard me say this, but rule of thumb is always paint your design with the color that you want it to be, and then sugar with clear acrylic or clear glitter or clear based acrylic. Anything with heavy pigment in it or opaque pigment or like solid colored glitters will not allow the light in your UV or LED lamp to fully penetrate the product. So it may be surface cured, but underneath there's underlying uncured product, which can lead to product breakdown. It can lead to clients developing contact dermatitis or an allergy. So we just want to be sure that we are doing this safely and having the product fully cure. So I've got this covered with my clear acrylic. I'm pretty happy. I don't see any shiny spots popping through. So let's go ahead and pop this in the lamp for a cure. And then we'll dust off the excess powder and our little holly design is done. Hi, Anya. Sarah, oh, thanks, Sarah. That's really sweet. I appreciate that. Okay. I've had a couple people ask me about these deer also, and guess what? I cheated. Well, not really. I just chose to work smart, not hard. I've tried to hand paint a deer by myself and my proportions are never right and it just does not look proper. So what I did was I actually stamped on a deer design that I have with stamping polish, and then I took Ugly Duckling white art gel, traced over everything, and then sugared it with some of our sparkly acrylic. And it works so well. Just using it as like a guideline. So that's how I did the deer one. Whoops. Alrighty, let's come in here. Let's give this a dust off. And then I think we're actually gonna, just for safe keeping, I forgot to do it, but I would probably cleanse the 3D gel because it does cure with a little bit of an inhibition layer. So I would take, oops, slippery because it's the clear acrylic. I would take some gel cleanse or some alcohol, put it on a wipe, and I would just cleanse those leaves. And there we go. We have our happy, holly jolly little holly design. Very simple, not a lot of detail, but enough so people know that it's holly, hopefully. I hope it looks like that to you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. As always, thank you guys again for hanging out. I appreciate you guys tuning in every week, and we appreciate your support. I think Christical will be going live. She'll be going live next. I can't remember exactly what day, but we're trying really hard to go live for you guys so we can connect and hang out and show you different things with Ugly Duckling products. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you're just joining now, don't worry, this live will be posted on the Ugly Duckling Facebook page after it's done here, so you can rewatch it. And if you guys ever have any questions about what you've seen here or any of our products or anything like that, please always reach out to us. We're always happy to help whenever we can. So thanks again, you guys, and I will see you next week. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye.